let's start with people who are just thinking about investing. Let's say, somebody who has, 20, 30 lakhs rupees of annual income, has some surplus, and start to open an account, at Zerodha and start investing. What's the best place, which is just consider index fund initially, a debt, mutual, like what's a easy, safe way without, learning too much?
I mean, I think like the first thing I think everyone should have is an insurance policy.
Right.
Like people, we all overestimate ourselves in life. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I could get out from here and I could crash into something and I could not be there. I think your family needs to be covered. So I think the first part of financial, and think about finances is to cover for your worst case outcomes.
And just plain term life, or those financial products which have term life and some
No, it's just term. I mean, I think if you have dependents,
yeah,
and these dependents are expected, they're living off a certain earning of yours, I think they need to be covered first.
Right.
I mean, it's I think like when you think about money, right, what I've realized after making a lot of mistakes is the idea is to put yourself in situations where you can be rational when issues happen, right?
Yeah.
And you can remain rational only when the risks are covered as much as possible.
Yeah.
So one is term, which is, I think the right way to look at it is, if something were to happen to you, if that money was at a bank fixed deposit, can it generate enough return to cover for your family or whoever is your dependent?
So about 10 times of,
Correct,
cover of your current annual income.
Something like that. And it's not very expensive to do it. It's I think a lot of people shy away from doing it because it feels like, it'll not generate them return.
Yeah.
But the thing is, just knowing that the risk is covered gives you better mind space to take more rational decisions with the rest of the things, right? Similarly with health, right? It's almost, I think, today, one health incident puts majority of the people below poverty line, right? In the sense, you can be in debt forever, etc. So it's a no-brainer not to have a health insurance policy, right? So I think anyone who's talking anything about money, finances before investing is to cover the risk. These two has to be covered.
Got it.
Right. And it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, unless people like you and me, as in if you had like large enough outcomes that money is sitting in the bank. So even if you're not around, right? I mean, if not for that, I think everyone else need to be doing this. Third is, when you say, I have X amount of money now, I need to be optimizing for returns. If you keep money in a bank account, you are unlikely to create wealth out of it, right? And I think the simplest thing to do is an index fund, right? As in, but every time I say it, people are like, "Would you do it with index fund?" I wouldn't, right? Because I have like 15, 20 years of experience doing this. But I think the right starting point is an index fund, right? Because once you get in, you'll start tracking the markets, you'll learn more. Maybe then you can go from, the safest option, which is an index option, to maybe a sectoral fund, and etc. But I think the good starting point is to be as safe as possible.
And guidelines of percentages, debt versus,
I mean, that the 100%, 100 minus age rule, right? I mean, that's simple, like...
Oh, it's a lot of it might not have heard of it. What's it?
No, I mean, if you're 30 years of age, 100 minus 30, so 70% put it in equity, and 30% have it in debt in some form.
Right.
Some long-term debt, some short-term debt. So, so when I say long-term, short-term, like a long-term could be like a 10-year GSEC.
Right.
A short-term could be a bank FD, right? I think everyone should also have some liquid capital.
Right.
So a bank FD can also potentially act as something that you can tap into.
Right.
If there was a job loss, there was, like one of those issues. I think everyone should have at least like a year's worth of that short-term debt, which is, like money in the bank account, which can cover for your 1 year running cost.
Right.
Like I said, no one knows economy and what can happen. So I think this is like a good starting point. But I think, as you learn, as you spend more time, you can start doing fancier things. So if someone wants to decide to do short-term trading in the markets, you can probably, say, I'll allocate 5% of my portfolio for short-term trading. I'll do short-term trading with it. And I won't allocate more unless I make money, right? Because the problem is that short-term trading is it gives you a lot of dopamine hits.
Right, yeah.
Right? It is, when you're right, it keeps this, the thing is, most of our lives, we're doing boring stuff, right? And especially people who are employed in jobs, etc. And trading brings excitement. The thing is, you should accept the fact that, this is, it's exciting you. That's why you're doing it. And for most people, it's that, right? And like, we were just talking before, right? As in, like, I'm on social media. Of course, the excuse is that it helps the business.
Yeah.
But I also understand it gives me dopamine, right? Because when I say people like, people share, there is excitement getting created, right? I keep questioning myself, like, how much percentage am I on social media for excitement?
Right.
How much am I in it for, real business reasons? Right. So, I think people have to be self-aware and question these things.
Right.
So the thing about money is you can very easily get carried away. One stupidity is all it will take. Right? If one of these days you've lost some money trading and you say, let me take my 30% of whatever this debt and put it into it and try to recover. I mean, I think those are the kind of mistakes.
So having some of these very strong guardrails, which you not breach no matter what happens, can protect you against some of this too.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, the big challenge in an online world where you can almost instantly make mistakes. Like, these guardrails also are very...
Who is going to hold you accountable?
Absolutely. Like, for example, when I was younger, when there was no Swiggy, Zomato, etc. In the middle of the night, if I felt like binging, there was nothing to binge on.
Correct.
Right? Today, you take an app and call ice cream and it'll be there. So it's not that. So even if say at Zerodha, you have this long-term portfolio that you have thought that you'll not access ever.
Right.
And suddenly, you're losing money in trading.
Right.
How do you safeguard this, right? As in, it's really hard. I think it's very easy for us to say,
right,
don't become irrational and to stupidity, but it's become really hard in today's world to avoid, like just all these, making life easier for people.
Right.
In the process, also made it easier to make mistakes. So.